Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Yesterday we got our touch detection working for our inventory system. So we're able to move our inventory like this. We need to add where we can press the B button on Game Boy to swap over to this inventory, as well as hit that once we press A, it would do the action to either equip our regular item or our key item over here. So we need to add that to our mobile detection, and then we can worry about adding our loot toggle if our loot is equipped for our mobile, so that we can play loot on mobile. So that's what we'll be working on today. So the first step is going to be to add the B button inventory swap to our touch detection. So I think that's in our inventory here. You know, right now it's swapping based on O, so we can search for an O press. Really? Okay, probably in our play state, pause state. Okay, so in our pause state, we're listening for... Okay, so this is a little weird, but we've basically got an inventory type for our pause state, and depending on what inventory type we have, we update either the key item inventory or the normal item inventory. So we need our B button press to swap the inventory type of our pause state object. I don't know how to do that. Actually, current inventory type. Okay, I think we can do this by doing something similar that we did yesterday. So let's try to do this where in our inventory class, let's look for when we did the current state. Where did we do that? We did a current state of a state name, current.state name, I think. Yeah. So look, we go into our global state machine, we go into our current state, and we ask whether or not the field is equal to something. So we should be able to add it to our inventory class. Now, our inventory class, there's two instantiations, one for our items and one for our key items. So the idea is, I guess we would ask right here if our option is item, then we can check our button. If our button is pressed and our option is item, then we change our global state machine's current state dot inventory type over to the other type. I think that's right. If we look at our pause state here, nope. It should be inventory type, yep. Okay, so we should be able to say, we have to find which button our B button is, because that is the swap inventory. So I think if we look for our touch detection, it's in our touch handling, it's in our buttons table, and B is our second value. So buttons index 2. If buttons index 2 collides with we have to check it here. We have to cycle through all of our touches and cycle through if any of our touches are colliding. So we would say, first of all, if buttons 2 collides with a specific touch. And then we have to also check that this is the first time this button has been pressed, because we flush this was touched at the end of the frame it was touched. So it's only true the very first frame it's touched. So we have to also ask if that, let's see, if our touch collides with the button 2, okay, and then if the very touch at index K, if the touch that is colliding with our button 2 is also was touched, meaning was touched on that very first frame, then we would want to go ahead and swap our state. So it would be our global state machine current, and then we'd swap the inventory type. Inventory type would get assigned to be, this is an item, so this would swap it to key item. So what that should be doing is in our pause state, when we're paused, this dot inventory type in our pause state, it's going to be swapping over. It's going to be essentially doing this, which is just swapping our item if O is pressed, except O being pressed is now B being pressed on the touch detection. And whatever inventory type we are, that is the inventory type we're actually updating, so that we can move our cursor to the other inventory. So we need to add this for a key item touch as well. So that's an item touch, but in a key item touch, we need to cycle through our touches. We aren't doing this at all just yet. So we'd have to come in here. So if our option is key item, we're going to cycle through all of our touches for key value in pairs touches. We want to check if the touches at index K, actually we want to check collision with our buttons. What was it? Buttons index 2 is our B button. So if our B button is colliding with any given touch, and that given touch was touched on this frame, then we'd want to swap our inventory type to item and not key item, and that will change which of our inventories is being updated over time. I believe that also controls which cursor is being rendered. But I don't know where we're doing that. Rendering the inventory, we can see if the inventory is rendering the cursor. Yeah. So we only render the cursor if we have the proper type. Okay. So this might work. And then let's make sure our key item selection is also moving our cursor. So right here we're checking all of the handle inputs for WASD. We need to also handle the inputs for touches. So if we look up here, we're saying here's where we handle all the inputs for our touch. We just need to do this for the key item now. Yeah. So D-pad 7 is our downwards button. D-pad 2 is our up. 4 is left. 5 is right. And we pass in self, which is the actual inventory instantiation, so that we know which inventory to update it for. And we only do it if it was touched on that very first frame. So what these handle right, handle left inputs are doing is just updating our selected row or column for our cursor, and then also blinking our cursor, resetting it so that you see the cursor right away as soon as you swap it. Okay, so that should be our key item. So we should have key item touch detection here. And then we have our normal keyboard detection here. We do need this for touch detection. Wow. Okay, so let's take a look at what this is doing. P is our A button, so it's kind of like our select button. So once we select something, then depending on the selected row we're at, we're gonna change our inventory's element slot to be equal to either a fire spell, sand spell, ice spell, and also set a color for that element. And the slot and the color is what we're using to render the little circle of our equipped item. And then we also have other logic to see, okay, well now if our selected row is 2, then we're gonna change our tunic equipped for the appropriate color we selected. Okay, so this is, I'm wondering if we can say if P is pressed, or, and then we can ask the same thing with our see, what it's tough because we can't, we'd have to cycle through all of our touches, because any of these touches could be the A selection. So we can't just say if touch, yeah, we have to cycle through all our touches. So we have to do basically this again, or while we're doing this, we go ahead and do our buttons. We call D-pad directional inputs, and then I think we call the buttons button inputs, even though D-pad is a button. But see, what I don't like is that I'm gonna copy all this. Like, I don't like that at all. But we have to do, yeah, we have to check on a per touch basis. And also we have to do it just if P was pressed. So I don't know. If selected row is 1, okay, do all that stuff. I feel like I've got one too many ends here. Maybe not. Okay. Okay, so this would be our D-pad touch detection, and this would be our buttons, A-B buttons. Okay. So we have to check if we collide like this with our A button. So our A button is, if we go to our touch handling, A is buttons 1, B is buttons 2. So A is buttons 1. So we're going to say if buttons at index 1 collides with any of our touches, and it was touched on that very first frame, then we're going to check the selected row to go modify our player's values of player spell or tunic equipped or anything like that. Okay. Yeah, because this is just, it's not A, B buttons, it's just select A button. Because B button is handled where do we do that? We have B button here. Yeah, we need to add this as well to swap it back to an item type inventory type instead of a key item. So if it's key item, we're gonna cycle through our touches, and then we do have that. Okay, so this would be D-pad touch detection, and this is the inventory swap. Okay. Let's see if we crash. Okay, well, it's good we don't crash. I'm not convinced I did it right for touch, but we can test it. So let's go ahead and make a commit, and we'll call it inventory swap for button testing. Okay. Looks like our upload worked for our web deployment. So here I will share screen. Okay, so we can walk around. We can pull up our inventory. We can swap through. Let's see if this works. Okay, we didn't have the equip working for our item slot. But, yeah, and then our inventory swap isn't working either. Okay. It's really tough to test. I don't know if we changed anything. Like, that's what was running yesterday, you know, like nothing is different from yesterday's build on this one. So either I just totally failed, or maybe just the deployment failed. Let's see. We should be doing, yeah, because this is the item slot. Let's see. Handle down input does what? Does it move things into the item slot? All that's doing is moving the cursor. So if we hit A in an item, yeah, we don't have an A button here in the item slot. Just like this, we need all of this item equip and copy and stuff for touch detection, which we don't have. And then here, we can't ever... Yeah, do we not have an inventory swap for our item class? It should be this. Buttons 2 is our B button. And if our touch collides with our B button and it was just touched, then go ahead and change the current state machine's .inventory type to key item. Yeah, and that should change which one is updating, but that was not working. Okay. So we know at the very least we need to... It's almost like when we do this handle left input, that is a horrible name for it, because that's just a handle left input for the inventory selection. I mean, I guess that's right, because like I guess we can do a handle A input or something for this P press. So we want to do all of the same stuff if it's a P press. So what we can do is copy all of this and write a handle A input. Okay, so now we have handle A input. And then we can also, we need to add an A input handling for our button press for A button. So if buttons index 1 collides with any of our touches, and that touch was touched, meaning the first frame it was touched, then we would want to handle A input. Okay. And then I guess we could change. I don't think it would be that smart to write a handle B input because it has to swap different strings for the inventory type. So we could either write a parameter to take in the string we need to change it to, or I don't know. This wasn't working though. Oh, but is it buttons or button? I think it's buttons with an S. Buttons. Pretty sure it's buttons. Buttons with an S. Okay. Okay, and 2 is B. That should be the item swap. So buttons index 2 should be the inventory swap. Buttons index 1 should be the select. Index 2 should be the item swap, yeah. Okay, I think what I want to do is print up the inventory type to make sure that that swap would be working. So if we print up, we'd have to do this. We can do this, I guess, in the play state. We can just try to print this up so that it would actually, yeah, no, it'd have to be in our main, because we want it to carry through our different states. So we would want to try to do it here. Let's do a love.graphics print, and we want to print the inventory type. So let's say inventory colon and then concatenate to a string the inventory type of our current state machine, which we'll have to also say at 0, 0. Let's set color to black so we can see it. It should be nil right off the bat. Yeah, concatenate a nil value. So we'd only want to do this if G state machine dot current. I don't know any other way around this, but we don't try to print it unless we know it's not nil. That's so weird. So we're walking around. Inventory is an item. Key item. Okay, so that is working. We are able to pull the value from the state machine globally, just like this. So let's try to commit this and see if toggling B button on the touch detection is working. We'll call this inventory swap touch test. Okay, let's try it. Okay. We'll pull our change. We'll make sure we're on the right commit. Yep. And then we'll rebuild our project and we will redeploy to the web server here. Okay, looks like it worked. Okay, we pull up our inventory. It does have the inventory type. If we equip... Equip works. Equip works. We just equipped a loot. Yes. Okay. And then let's try to swap inventory type. Okay, the swap still isn't working. Pressing B should swap our inventory type to key item here. But that is not working. But we know the P press is working. We just tested it on desktop. Okay. It's close. It's close. The fact that equipping is working is really nice. So let's see if we can find the bug for our... We know this inventory type is working from our global state machine dot current inventory type, because here on desktop we can see inventory type is item, key item when we swap it. Item, key item, item, key item. So if we go and look into our... here, if our option is item, which it starts off to be, buttons 2 should be our B button, and we're saying if the B button is colliding with the touch, then we're changing our inventory type to be equal to key item. Why doesn't that work? And then if our option's key item, we're changing it. Yeah, I mean, and that seems very straightforward to me. Buttons 2 should be B. And we know A input is working. And we know we can access this inventory type and that's a right value, but we're not swapping it for some reason. I don't even know how to test this. Buttons 2 should be B. Buttons 2, yeah, is B. And we know B's working because we're pressing it on our mobile deployment here. It's just not reassigning this inventory type value. Okay, and we know equipping is working. We know this body of code is getting executed because we're handling the A input to go ahead and apply our items. Okay. GState machine dot current inventory type. That's exactly what we're printing in main. GState machine dot current inventory type. GState machine dot current dot inventory type. Yeah. Part of me thinks maybe let's just try to do this. Let's just try to change it to key item as soon as we load our item option. And let's see if that works. Because I feel like the assignment here just isn't succeeding. Okay. Okay, it does swap it. So we are able to swap it. So it's just the touch detection for the B button, because we're able to come in here and are we able to apply these things? Yeah, we're able to apply our different spell cast. And then let's test if we want a red tunic and a blue spellcast, and then we go, yeah, we've got our red tunic and our blue spellcast. Okay. Oh, look at that. It's switching. It's switching just a little bit. Okay, so what is wrong with that? It is detecting a switch and then it's overriding it. Something's not jiving. We're close. We're close. Something just isn't right here. Buttons 2 collides with touches K, and touches K was touched. Swap to key item. I don't get why it doesn't work. This looks perfectly fine to me. We know it swaps it because we were just swapping it. So maybe if it's an item, key item. Let's try it again. Let's try it again and just make sure. Inventory is item if it's in a key item. So if we collide, yeah, buttons 2 collides with a touch. Yep. Let's try it again. Okay, so inventory is item. Why can't we swap it, man? B touch. It's so weird that it was working. It was working once we were in key item. The swap was wanting to swap back to item. So that one was wanting to work, but we can't, for some reason, we can't swap over to our key item. Let's make sure we've got the text right for that. The string correct for that, because if inventory type key item camel case like this, let's make sure. Key item, yeah, key item camel case. Okay, but the option, maybe the option is what we're screwing up. It's, no, we start with a self option of item, don't we? Oh God. We pass in the option to our inventory. Okay, so this must be where it's getting wrong somewhere. Our self option. Let's see when we instantiate our options. It would be in the pauseState, and we should have a global inventory system. No? G. Oh, it's like item inventory. Item inventory. Right here. Okay, so there's the option, and it matches. It matches. Okay. But then, okay, so we have two item inventories, both with an option of either item or key item. Then when we go to load our pauseState, we're saying, okay, the inventory type starts out as item. This might be where something's getting wrong. How many lines long do you estimate this game to be right now? I don't know. It's... I don't know. Maybe GitHub has got some stats on that. Because there's a couple of things like when I export the tiles for all of the map overworld, that all gets exported in a big old table. So like I probably wouldn't count those lines of code towards the final count. But yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I can try to maybe see if there's a program that can kind of read the lines, because there's a lot of files right here. I don't know. I would say multiple thousands, but I really don't know. Yeah, maybe there's a tool out there that can kind of read a Git repo and count the lines or something. I don't know. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, hey, let me know if you finish that, and then we can run it. We can try it. Okay. Okay, so we're updating the .inventory type. Okay. What is going on here? Why does it not like it? We should be able to change the .inventory type with a button to collision with a touch. So let's compare our item swap, because this seemed to work. Buttons 2 collides, touches K, and touches K was touched, then inventory type gets, yeah. So what's weird is, if we were to try to change our default inventory type to key item, and then keep this as is, maybe we can test if the key item swap works, and if it works there, then we have you know, then we know something wonky is going on, which I'm feeling something wonky going on because it should be simple. I'm not sure why this isn't working. So let's try to instantiate our option. Okay, our option here is... Okay, this is really strange. If our option is item, swap to key item. Okay, so maybe... Ah, it's so hard. I don't know what to change to test. Because we're in our pause state by the time we're in our inventory menu, and then we know this value is working because it's printing up the correct value, and it works on desktop. So we know the inventory type. Well, actually, how since it works on desktop, that just means that we have access to that state machine field. Yeah, key item, but it doesn't mean... Because in our play state, or in our pause state here, our state name gets assigned based on... Yeah, dude, this is exactly what we're trying to do. We're just trying to change the .inventory type to be a different string. But instead of when it's O pressed, we're trying to do it in the item inventory. I guess we could pull out the swapping into our pause state here like we do here. That's the only difference I have. Oh, well, okay. Our inventory. So like right now the logic's in our inventory class, and we are having 2 instances of the inventory class in our pause state. So swapping the global state machine inside, well, I don't know, we're only updating one at a time, so let's just try to pull it out here. Let's try to pull out the inventory swap into the state machine instead of here. So let's just try to do that. It's the only thing I could think to try differently. So here is the inventory swap for touch, but we'll have to pull out our other mention of it in our item option. And this is it. Okay. So we're just gonna toggle our switching in our pause state. Okay. So we need to cycle through our touches. And if our B button collides with the touch. Okay, so here's where we would do... We have to do this where we say, hey, if our inventory type is key item, switch us to item. And then if, I guess we could do this, else if. Okay, so if our B button was pressed in our pause state, we check if we're a key item. If we are, we swap back to item. If we are not key item, we'd switch over to key item. Just like this up here for an O press, but we're doing the touches now. Okay, and then let's double check. Let's double check our inventory to make sure we didn't leave any buttons to reference. Okay, I think we're okay. So let's try to do this. Inventory swap within pause state for mobile. Okay, let's try that. All right, moment of truth. Let's see here. We can walk around. We can pull up our inventory. We can swap our inventory back and forth. Let's say we want a loot. Let's say we want a yellow tunic and a cyan element equipped. And we've got... doesn't look like our yellow loot equipped, or our yellow tunic. Oh, you know what? I don't think we are doing... Oh, yeah, it did work. Red tunic. Red tunic. Blue tunic. I can't tell if that was blue tunic. It looks dark. Oh, it does look like blue. Okay. Then let's see. Green tunic. Green tunic. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, so we've got our inventory swapping. We don't have the loot. We don't have the loot working on touch detection. So now that we can equip via touch, that's going to be next. We're going to get our loot system triggering if B is pressed and loot is equipped. And then we have to add the strings for the loot for mobile as well. So that'll be next. That'll be tomorrow. Today we made good progress at least. Oh my god. You know, there's only a couple libraries I'm using. I don't think I'm up that far. I wouldn't say I'm 11,000. I would say maybe like 3,000. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know of a decent way to try to test that. Like, if we look at our main is 100. What's a big one? PlayState. PlayState is probably a big one. Map and scene are probably a big one. Oh, there's just too many. There's too many. There's 281 just in here. $340. Yeah, I don't know. I would guess a couple thousand for me. Players 140. Entities 300. Map is 300. Let's see what our playstate is. Playstate 700. Yeah, I would guess maybe like 4,000 maybe. Which isn't bad. Like, it's cool. I love that. I'm curious what the source code, all the source code is for the game compiled and everything. I'm kind of curious now. We're only at 4 megabytes, so that's cool. It doesn't include the game engine, right? But it has sounds and pictures and all the code, so 4 megabytes is pretty good. We are doing a Game Boy game, so makes sense it would be small. Yeah, I'm curious, what are the... Kind of curious what the sizes are for the executables. No way. No way we're that close. I think those lines must be from some of the libraries or something. Let's see what the push library has. Oh, I guess that's only 280. Yeah, I mean, push is the big library we're using. We're also using knife, which is where utils, lib, knife. Yeah, see, like there's a bunch in here. I feel like, well, there's not too much. Yeah, so I guess the libraries I have don't take up too much. That would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool to get little stats, and then you can track it on a monthly basis or whatever. That could be cool. But that's cool. We're like, if we're both sitting at 11,000, that's really cool. I mean, I've still got, like, look at this, like my notes, that's like 150 of just notes instead of code. So little stuff like that. Wow. That's pretty nuts. Wow. I did want to see what the source code size was, or the once it's packaged with the engine. Okay, so once it's packaged with the engine, wow, only 6 megabytes packaged with the engine and everything. That's really cool. Can that fit on a floppy disk? Or floppy disks weren't even that small, huh? Or floppy disks were smaller than that. Yeah, can't quite fit on a floppy disk. Okay, well. At least we've got the inventory system working, and the item equipping and tunic equipping and spellcast equipping working on mobile. Tomorrow I'll be back and we'll work on getting our loot playing on the mobile device, and then at that point we can move on and do new stuff. We've been in this realm of porting over to mobile and making it friendly for mobile for about a month or so. And now that we've kind of done all that grunt work, we're only a get pull and a build process away from deploying to the web, which is nice. And sound is working, particle systems are working on mobile. So I feel pretty confident moving forward with development as normal, and then just periodically testing for mobile and adding whatever appropriate mobile stuff we need as we go. But we're in a good spot. Yeah, we're in a good spot. I think after we get the loot working on mobile, I'll work on some scene transitions. Oh yeah, have you seen that I am using a class library. I forget where I pulled it from, but it's super handy. Yeah, I use those everywhere. They're super handy. And it's really simple too. Like I took the first 2 episodes of Harvard CS50 Game Dev, and they went over making Pong in Love2d and Flappy Bird, and then I did those 2 lessons, and then I moved on and kind of did my own stuff. I probably should have done more, because what I did watch, I learned a ton, and then I've just been kind of figuring stuff out by myself since then. But that's a really good class. They showed me that library there. That was really cool. All right, I'm gonna go raid out here. Let's raid Basie. We haven't raided Basie in a while. But thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be getting some loot, working on mobile tomorrow. But thanks for hanging. Thanks for that tool, RGB, assessing those lines. That's interesting. Thanks for hanging. Catch you later.